Hey everyone, it's me again, and it's another late night sitting here in my robe with my hood on, and I wanted to talk to you guys. So, I know I'm a little late, but a video came up on my recommended on YouTube called Is African Spirituality Bad? And the creator of the video is called The Grapevine. Now, I had so many thoughts about this episode. I have been thinking about it all day, trying to think of how I wanted to talk about this subject. Now, one thing I can say is that Christians are very sensitive. They are the only group of people who will get offended, will get mad, will insult you, will degrade you, will verbally abuse you, you know, just because you are not Christian. And I think that is one thing that deters me away from the Christian religion. Now, I don't identify as Christian. I didn't grow up being Christian. However, I did go to church for about 5 to 6 years in my adulthood because I thought it was the right thing to do. This is the way. This is the only way. It's drilled into your brain that Christianity is the only way, especially if you are, well, I'm a U.S. citizen. So here in the U.S., I feel like Christianity is the dominant religion. However, more religions have been branching out, over the years. So I never really resonated with church like that. I feel like my pastor at the church, he was more of a motivational speaker. Like he got me like amped for the week, and that's why I liked him more than anything. He didn't really get too deep into the scriptures, in my opinion. And then he started traveling a lot because he's also a businessman. And the pastor who came in after him, he just didn't resonate with me. So I was watching a grapevine, and a woman who practiced African spirituality was saying that, they honor their ancestors, and that she knows her mom comes to her grandmother because she could smell her nail polish. And then a Christian woman decided to say, every person has an angel and a demon, and you weren't talking to your mother, or that you didn't. That wasn't the spirit of your mother. That was a demon. And she was so aggressive when she said it, and it's just like, why so negative? Like, why say it's a demon? Like, why not? Why couldn't she have an angel come visit her? Like that like really turned me off. Like I just didn't understand why people do that. And when I was about 15 is when I really started to get into meditation. And I remember when meditating, and I remember seeing a man in a black suit with like a white collar shirt, and he gave me a message. And I was telling my aunt, who's Christian, she was like, you was probably talking to the devil. First thing she said, because I told her about my meditation, and I believe, I can't remember because this was when I was 15, that was a long time ago, but whatever message that I received, I feel like it was a good message. I think I was telling her because it was a good message. And I didn't want to meditate after that for so long. However, I do meditate a lot now, and I'm glad that I do, actually. And so I just have a problem. It's just like, why are Christians always telling people that they're talking to the devil or that demons are visiting them and things like that? Like, it's fucking annoying, okay? Also, I remember I was in a talking stages with this gentleman. I was in the stages where I was still vetting him, basically. And, you know, I pointed something out about religion. This man cursed me out like I was a hooker on a street that burned him, gave him the clap, gonorrhea. Like, you would have thought I said his mama, the way he verbally abused me. And all I pointed out was that there are similar stories in the Quran that mirror stories in the Bible. And he's like, which stories? Like, started getting really defensive now. And I was trying to explain to him, there are so many other religious texts out here that predates the Bible. And I was trying to explain it to him. And he's like, oh, Christianity is the only way. That's the only way. And it's just like, I've never met any other group of religious people that Is that like it's crazy. I meet different people all the time, whether they be Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, or straight up atheist, or they say they're a Satanist. I'll say okay, and they don't ever turn to me and try to recruit me to whatever religion that they are currently a part of. And so I think that people have African spirituality, like what it is, confused. Just spirituality in general of what it is. I think people think we sit around conjuring up demons and putting hexes on people, and that, we're bad people. And I'm very spiritual, but I keep my spiritual practices to myself because of how judgmental society is. And it's not like that. Like, I like to manifest things. So, or I'm doing protection, things of that nature. Manifest good things, And that's what I do. And I feel like as I've gotten deeper into my spirituality, I feel like it has made me a better person because I'm able to look at my life as, where it is now and understand that I manifested this life with my thoughts, whether it be good or bad. And it's made me more calm as a person. It just made me a better person. And I feel like when you're talking about Christianity, people like, and the argument is, oh, the Bible has been around for years. And the thing is that I don't think people realize that people that are spiritual, we don't have anything against the Bible at all. It's Christianity is what we have the issue with. Now, the Bible is a religious text that has been around for eons, as long as, humanity can remember. So nobody has anything against the Bible. In fact, people who are spiritual know the Bible frontward, backward, sideways. They actually read the good book. Christians the ones I run in contact with, so if it does not apply, let it fly, don't know the good book like most spiritual people do. And I just feel like because I'm spiritual, I understand the Bible on a different level. Like, I understand it so much deeper than I did before. Baptisms, that is something done in Christian churches. Baptisms, they take you to the pool in the church, they say a prayer, they dunk your head. Now, if anybody knows anything about quantum jumping or quantum leaping, you know that you basically set your intentions into water and then you transfer one cup to the other and you drink it, and that's how you are manifesting, what you want to come. And I just feel like a baptism is no different. It's like you're speaking into water. I feel like preachers, or pastors, they have these practices, but they don't really understand, or people, maybe they do. The people that are followers don't fully understand like the metaphysics behind these things, And the preacher is saying a prayer. He's basically talking into the water, and he dunks you. However, in modern times we use swimming pools. Back in the day when Jesus was baptizing people, you usually did it in the ocean or like a lake. And I feel like there's a significance with the salt water. If you notice in spirituality, we take a lot of spiritual baths. And what do they say? Add sea salt. Add Epsom salt, And I just think that there are metaphysical properties. So there are metaphysical properties behind the salt, in the water. And, with salt, if you're into spirituality, it's something that protects you. I want to say it's something that is used as a cleanser as well in spiritual practices. So there is like, there's such a deeper meaning to what it is to be baptized, And, I only bring that up because when you speak of a spiritual bath or preparing a cleansing bath, it's looked at as, oh my gosh, like, what kind of witchcraft is that? But when you think about it, like, it's no different than what was done in ancient times, back in those days, Jesus's days. I'm not sure if they even had swimming pools and things like that. I feel like in some Baptist churches, they do partake in African practices and don't really know why. Now, when I was a small kid, this is a minute and a half ago, probably 3 minutes ago, I went to Macon, Georgia. It was like a dirt road. big white church, huge white cross on top. I noticed the ushers were wearing all white. They had like a white hat on, white dress, the gloves, white shoes. And you ask people, like, why are you wearing white? And they don't really, if you ask someone who's an usher and you ask them, why y'all wear white? They really can't tell you why. You go see a high priestess like me. When I want to go to a botanica in my neighborhood, this one botanica, the lady is always wearing white and she's always got her hair covered. And I feel like that's where women, well, the ushers wearing all white in churches basically come from. This is just my opinion. Well, that's where it comes from. So that's that. And if you notice, every religion they cover their hair except for Christians. Now your hair is considered your antennas. It holds a lot of energy, especially if you are melanated and you have extremely curly hair. It holds so much energy. And people, religious people, that's how one way to protect their energy is to cover their hair. And that's one thing I find different out of all the religions. I feel like Christians, they don't cover their hair. You got the Muslims that cover their hair, the Quakers, Catholicism, just to name a few. The Jewish women, when they're married, they wear a wig to cover their natural hair, or they have like some sort of like bonnet on their hair. Another thing I want to touch on is, when you're using oils, herbs, spices, and things like that for your rituals, like I said again, Christians will be like, oh, that's high key witchcraft. But if you look through the Bible, I don't have any scriptures or anything pulled up at the moment, but their use of oils and herbs and spices and anointing oils. But if I create an oil and I put my intentions in it and I anoint myself with it, it's like, oh my gosh, that's not of God. Like, I just don't understand. It's like, are you guys reading the same book that I'm reading? Are you guys reading the same Bible that I'm reading? Because I don't get it. And Christians, they make comments about how in African spirituality, they make comments about people who practice spirituality, whether it be African spirituality or whatever, wherever you're from, that calling on your dead ancestors, it's like taboo. Like, oh my gosh, that's necromancy. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand, like, what's the big deal about honoring your ancestors or calling on your ancestors for help. It's like, God is the only way. Jesus Christ is the only way. This is what they say. Jesus Christ is the only way. But I'm calling on Jesus Christ when I make my prayers, right? It's okay to call Jesus when I need a miracle. If I'm about to crash my car and I say, Jesus, take the wheel. It's okay for me to call on Jesus, who has also died, thousands of years ago. But I can't call on my dead ancestor. Like, do Christians realize that they are calling on a dead person too? Like, I'm just trying to understand. And also, they say God is the only way. God is the only way. Now, I'm going to use this analogy. It might be a lame analogy, but at the current moment, I could only think of this analogy, okay? So bear with me. So if I'm a CEO of a company, a huge Fortune 500 company, right? And somebody is trying to get to me. They trying to get to the top dog, whether it be a vendor, they trying to sell me something, they trying to get an interview. Guess what? You have to go through somebody or try to go through somebody to get to me. So maybe your aunt works at the company. So you hit your aunt up, hey, auntie, I'm trying to get a job. Can I use you as a reference or whatever? Or could you slide my resume, to human resources? You called your aunt to hook you up and she did that for you and got your message to the CEO. Then you got hired or you got to sell the company the products that you wanted to sell them. So I don't understand what's so bad about people calling on their ancestors or for that extra boost or help. Not saying that God doesn't exist or you want to call on your saints for that extra potent energy. So it could basically, how do I want to say it? When you call on, your saints or your orishas or whatever it is you call on, it just makes that prayer or manifestation or your intentions that much more powerful. It gives it way more energy, you know what I'm saying? So, it makes whatever you're doing that much more potent. And, our saints are connected to God. So why can't I go through my saint like, hey dog, this is what I'm trying to manifest to get to, God, So this is just me just talking as things come to my brain. And Christians are the only group of people, well, I won't say the only because we all know that, Muslims kill in the name of religion. But Christians also kill in the name of religion. If you've never heard of Constantine or the Crusades, the 100-year wars, I suggest you look that up, you know? And, they tell you, oh, crystals are portals, but you got mirrors in your house, you know? You're staring into your phone all day. That's a black mirror. You're staring into your MacBook all day. That's a black mirror. And I believe that people who were religious, I would say, you know, hundreds of years ago, maybe thousands of years ago, or who, you know, followed the Bible. I believe those people were called Gnostics. If I'm not mistaken, those were referred to as Gnostics. And then, once Constantine, you know, declared the war on pagans, I got my air quotes up as I'm saying it, and started wiping off hundreds and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people who he deemed pagan and wicked. That began a rise to what we now know as Christianity. So I just wish people stop saying, oh, the Bible's been around. Yeah, Christianity has not always been a dominant religion. So I'm going to see y'all in my next late night chat. Bye.